It's no measure of good health to be considered well-adjusted to a profoundly sick society. And one of the things that makes our society profoundly sick is that people keep listening to political parasites and fake news pundits. Since this channel is mass demonetized, I solely rely on the support of you guys through Patreon and PayPal. Also, if you guys want to help me continue to create independent, hard-hitting content like this, there are a couple links in the description below for these sunglasses and for these shirts. If you guys enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share it with everybody you know. Here's a simple observation. It seems like when government and media functionaries lay down the framework for and develop a particular narrative, it doesn't take long for that narrative to form and set like concrete in the minds of the masses, who end up taking that narrative and parroting it as gospel truth. And if you come along and simply question that narrative, you get eye rolls and you're automatically discounted as a conspiracy theorist. And that makes it easy for them, because lobbing the accusation of conspiracy theorist keeps the accuser from having to answer the honest questions of a critical thinker. And that brings us to Las Vegas. If you've listened to the entire police scanner audio on the night of the shooting, you have Las Vegas police clearly saying there were multiple shooters with gunfire coming from very different areas. I've distilled the entire audio so that you can present it to anyone who's willing to listen. Here's what the cops were saying as they attempted to pinpoint where the automatic gunfire was coming from.
179 is coming from upstairs in the Mandalay Bay. Upstairs in Mandalay Bay, halfway up. I see the shots coming from Mandalay Bay. Halfway up. We have an active shooter. We have an active shooter inside the warehouse.
Control, be advised. Shots are coming from gate 7. Gate 7. Shots are coming from gate 7.
Control 179 Sam. I'm seeing multiple flashes in the middle of Mandalay Bay on the north side, kind of on the west tower, but towards the center of the casino, like one of the middle floors. 751, I see there's a flashing coming up from about a third of the way up, center tower, Mandalay Bay. We've got about 15th floor on the Mandalay Bay, facing a whole lot.
Stairwell on the 32nd floor. Control 159 SE. You need the radio, please. I'm on the 32nd floor. The room is going to be 135, break.
Now, people have discounted this, saying this is heat of the moment chatter as they try to figure out what's going on. But if people take a look at the facts, it's consistent with the testimony of others who were there. Here are just a few examples.
And you guys said that there were multiple shots fired.
We were the furthest VIP stages away from Mandalay Bay, and they were ricocheting everywhere where we were. So they were firing from somewhere high, and they were unloading clip after clip after clip after clip.
So there was a shooter, you believe?
Multiple shooters.
Multiple shooters.
It has to be.
When the elevator got to the lobby and the doors opened, the air just reeked of gunpowder. We were in the Delano, right next to a walkway that connects the Mandalay Bay at the Delano, and we heard gunshots from right out that hallway, so we think that the police were dealing with the shooter while we were down there.
And to further challenge the lone wolf shooter scenario, Las Vegas Sheriff Joseph Lombardo, when answering questions at a press conference after the dust settled, said this.
Sheriff, you mentioned accomplices. We've talked previously about Mary Lou Danieley as a person of interest. Are there any other persons of interest in this investigation?
Well, is there any other? No. Concrete, no. We're looking at it this way, Ken. Is there another one? And we're determined to find out if there was. I mean, it's important not to close this case until we run down everything.
Should we ask the terrorists?
Because look at this. I mean, you look at the weapon obtaining, the different amounts of tannerite available. Do you think this was all accomplished on his own? Self-value, face value. You got to make the assumption he had to have some help at some point, and we want to ensure that that's the answer. Maybe he's a super guy. Maybe he superhero, not a hero, a super. I won't use the word. Maybe he's, a super yahoo that was working out all this on his own, but it'd be hard for me to believe that.
And to that, do we need to ask?
And here's the reason why. Put one and one together, or two and two together. Another residence in Reno with several firearms, okay? Electronics and everything else associated with large amounts of ammo, a place in Mesquite. We know that he had a girlfriend. Do you think this is all self-facing? The individuals are just, without talking to somebody, it was sequestered amongst themselves. I mean, come on, folks. These type of investigations have been occurring in the last few years, and we have to evaluate that.
The fact is this. Police on the ground, witnesses, and Sheriff Lombardo point to a multiple shooter situation. And what does mainstream media tell you? Stephen Paddock acted alone. Let's be gut honest here. The only reason any of us knows the name Stephen Paddock is because that's the name we've been fed. We don't really know who is involved. Everything you hear has been sifted through or concocted by someone, packaged for the masses, and we're expected to take their word for it. In the 60s, we were fed the name Lee Harvey Oswald, that lone wolf, superhuman bolt-action Carcano rifle master who managed to launch what government officials would later call the magic bullet that snuffed out Kennedy's life. Even though testimony after testimony and footage of the crowd's immediate initial response revealed multiple shooters from multiple locations. But government's gotta have its patsy. They gotta have a fall guy who will take the hit while the masterminds are free to implement the agendas that the violent incident initiated. Predictably, we have political parasites talking about more regulation, more laws, more restrictions, which all equals less freedoms for the rest of us. Yes, gun control works, but it only works for those who end up controlling the guns. Now, in the context of multiple shooters, a lot of people have been asking me to comment on this video where many believe the guy with the yellow safety vest in the lower left-hand side of your screen crouched down and fired a weapon into the crowd. Let me run through it one time in regular speed and then we'll slow it down and break it down. Okay, let's look at it again at half speed. The first thing I want to point out is that there are two guys with yellow vests. I see people saying that these guys are dressed as security, but I'm thinking they're cops. But we'll get to that in a second. Let's zoom in on them and play it again. It's hard to tell in the dark, but it does look like the guy on the right has something in his hand at this point. And I do believe it's a gun, but we'll get to that in a second too. I'm leaving the sound on here because it looks like when the sound of gunshots is heard, everybody in the frame responds the same way, including the guy holding the camera. In the next frame, a bright light, and maybe it's a spotlight from the concert stage, shines on the guy on the left as he crouches down and walks in front of the guy people say is shooting into the crowd as the gunshots continue. My take is that these guys are cops, and the guy on the right does look like he has his gun drawn. And I'm basing it on the next couple frames. Right here you can see that one of those two guys with the yellow vest walks in front of the camera and has his gun drawn. It looks like he's holding it with his index finger on the outside of the trigger guard. It also looks like the uniform he has on matches the uniforms of the Las Vegas Police Department. While I believe there were multiple shooters in this Hegelian dialectic psychological operation, I don't see any evidence that these guys are among those shooters in this video. Don't forget, guys, problem, reaction, solution is a recipe that has worked for a long, long time. And it'll continue to work if we don't stop trusting mainstream news, start asking questions, and champion the cause of true individual liberty. Yes, things like this are scary, but no matter how scary things get, don't let them take one more ounce of our freedoms. Because living with scary, unpredictable freedom is far better than living with pseudo-peaceful slavery. And if you want to bet on something, bet on this. Psychopaths will never let a good crisis go to waste.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
Never waste a good crisis.
It's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
But we sure can do what we can in our power to make our country a safer place. We need common sense reforms.
It's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
One person, 9 minutes, utter devastation.
A serious crisis.
It would ban the sale, transfer, importation, ban manufacturing or possession of accessories.
Never waste a good crisis.
Those who violate the ban would be subject to the same penalties as those who illegally possess machine guns. Automatic weapons should not be legal. There is no better way to honor the 59 people who were slaughtered than to take action to prevent this from happening yet again. After Columbine, I thought we would act. After Virginia Tech, I thought we would act.
A serious crisis.
After Tucson, when one of our colleagues was shot in the head and nearly killed, I thought we would act. After Aurora, that horrible thing in the movie theater, I thought we would act. And particularly after Sandy Hook, when 20 first graders were slaughtered, I thought for sure we would act. After Orlando, I thought we would act. And now, after Las Vegas, I hope senators will finally summon the political courage to stand up and say, enough is enough.
You never want a serious crisis to go to waste. And what I mean by that, it's an opportunity to do things that you think you could not do before.
Believe me, they've got plenty more crisis tactics up their sleeves to make people even more fearful than they already are. The question is, will we keep taking the bait? Stay safe out there, my friends. Things are getting really, really interesting. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, give it a like and share it with others. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe and notification button and you'll be alerted when I upload new videos. Today's shirts for the day are Truth, the new hate speech, Truth is treason in the empire of lies, and McDeath's, eat fast, die young. Your $5 off promo code is in a link in the description for you for every shirt in the store. Don't forget to leave your thoughts for the world and the Google Thought Police in the comments section below. And I'll see you guys in the next video.